Hey, what's up everyone? We got a whole new video, keeping fish alive. I was never even planning on making a video like this. A guy asked me a question. He said, hey man, how do you keep your fish alive? And it's kind of been one of those deals that I don't know if there's even that much science behind it, in the sense of there's so much out there and there's so many of these like homemade remedies, and some guy says do this, some guy says do that. They make a lot of things to put in our water. There's a whole big issue over how much ice, too little of ice, what do you do with it all? I'm just gonna go give you my opinion on what it's been like for us to keep fish alive. And we used to fish a ton of summer events, right? So we're either catching fish out deep or we're catching them and the water's really warm. That's really the two things that kill your fish, okay? Is having too hot of water and not having enough oxygen in the water. Now there's a couple things you can do about that, and we're gonna go over that. Hey guys, if you're new to my channel, my name's Todd Castellan. I fish tournaments all over the country. I fish a little bit on tour. I fish the Opens now, I fish the Toyotas. I fish a ton of team stuff. So, you know, I'm getting to fish 25, 30 events a year. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just gonna give you my idea of how we keep our fish alive. All right, before we go any further, I'm gonna tell y'all, there's something in here that after everything I say, like everything I go through, there's still one sure, almost 99.9%, it's the best thing you can do, okay? It's a little bit more extreme, but I'm telling you, it's the best thing, so stay tuned for that. I promise you, if you have not heard this, if you really care, if you never wanna have a fish die, this is what you need to do. First things first, let's go over some things. One, colder water holds more oxygen, plain and simple, okay? So the colder you can make your water should be the better. Now I will say, you don't wanna like have your water and get like 20 bags of ice and dump them in there and then dump fish in there from like 90-degree water into like 70-degree water. Like that'll shock them. Even anyone that's had a fish tank knows, go buy fish, you usually put your bag of fish. One just blew up on me. You usually put your bag of fish in the tank. What it does is it lets that water in that bag, if the temperature was different, start to get like the temperature in your tank. That way that's a slow process of them getting used to it, because you don't want to just take a fish from like I said, 90-degree water, throw it into 70-degree water, man, that'll shock them. And vice versa, right? You don't want to take cold fish from way down deep that are really cold and put them in your live well that's 90 degrees, and that'll shock them just as bad. Two, like I said, colder water definitely holds oxygen better, okay? That's why we want to keep our live wells and our water cold. That's why we dump ice in there, and we're going to kind of go over that. I've seen some other things kill fish, okay? And let me tell you something, you're gonna have fish die on you. If you fish tournaments, there's not a person out there that hadn't had a fish die on you. A lot of that's not y'all's fault, right? A lot of that's, you know, hooking them in the tongue and things like that. So there's just some places that if you just hook them just right, it'll kill them. Now, I'm not talking about gut hooking them. I'm not talking about like throwing a Cinco out there and it's been biting on it for 30 seconds and you set the hook, it's down in its gut. I'm talking about catching it in the tongue. We've had fish from catching them on a frog die. We've had all kinds of fish. If you catch them just right in the bottom part of their mouth, around their tongue area, and they start to bleed, man, it's a 50-50 deal. Now there's some things we can do to help that, but I don't think any of it's 100%. We just try. We try the best we can, okay? Now, I've seen a lot of other things too hurt you, and one of them is a dirty live well, okay? So I try to keep mine as clean as possible. I'm always running water through it. I'm making sure all the vents and everything are clean, and that's one way. Now, my Skeeter live well, like I said, I don't even have water in here, and what I do is I usually fill it up in the morning. One, because you're gonna get the coolest water in the morning, and I don't even care if I don't have a fish in there. I'm gonna fill them up instantly, get it going, and that way, even if it takes me a while to catch a fish, I'm not worried about it. I want that cooler water in there from the get-go, okay? Second, I'm not a guy who worries about the recirculate. I've got batteries in here. I keep it on. I don't even do the auto thing. If I got them in there, I keep it rolling constantly. I never stop, okay? They do have an oxygenator built in this thing. I will have that on the entire time. And the other thing I'll do is G-Juice. Now they make some different G-Juice, you know, they have this live release stuff and everything. Last couple of years I've just really used G-Juice almost for everything. Get them from like TH Marine. Like I'll even put one of these in the live well. This is great for like an all-day deal. If not, you can just kind of read the instructions on this and put some in there. I'm not too worried about it, man. I get that water blue and I usually never have a problem with it. Now that also takes out some other things in your live well that's gonna hurt it. One of those is chlorine. You know, chlorine's gonna be in your ice, okay? So down here where we're at, we get some really deep fish in the summertime and we're putting them in our live wells. We buy sometimes 3 to 4 20-pound bags of ice, like the big giant bags. And we clear out all of our stuff in the back and we put them in there. And what we'll do is throughout the day, we dump bags in there. Like one bag here, 2 or 3 hours later, another bag in there, 2 or 3 hours later, another bag in there. We keep that water cool. That G-Juice takes everything out of there so you don't have to worry about too much chlorine or anything else in there. And so that's what we do. Some people might say it's a lot of work or it's overkill. We don't care. We'll catch a lot of big fish. The big fish are usually die quicker. They're just more stressed out, so we just don't like killing any fish. Plus, you know, besides the fact of not killing them, it's going to hurt us in the tournament. So it's just a great incentive not to let your fish die. All right, now there's some things out there, some homemade stuff. And I say homemade stuff, it's just some things you hear about from different guys. Like I heard if you catch a fish in its tongue, it's bleeding real bad. I've heard of guys putting Coke down it. I've heard of guys, you know, we'll put this live release stuff or please release me, and you'll just dump it in that fish's mouth. Sometimes that stops the bleeding right away. I heard of guys putting salt in their live wells. I heard a lot of different things. Like I said, our experience, that's the deal, is just putting ice, the live release, keeping the oxygenator running. Now, I gotta say, that's for a lot of lakes. There are some lakes that are different, okay? I grew up on Livingston, okay? Fish on Livingston, you don't ever catch them over 10 foot deep. I don't put any of that stuff in there. And what I do is I usually keep my live wells running constantly, and I'm just pumping water through there. Circulation of water also creates oxygen. If anyone has a fish tank, you know that just the movement of water circulates it, that creates oxygen. That's what the fish needs. So that's one of those deals on those type of lakes that you catch them really shallow. They're usually kind of dirty. They live shallow. They're used to that water. Like, you don't want to sit there and take fish that is living in 90-degree water and throw them in 70-degree water, okay? That they're not actually used to that. You can get it a little bit cooler. Maybe you don't want it at 90. What I'm saying is, oh my gosh, I see one up there swimming around. Think I was sight fishing right now. So the deal is you want to sit there and figure out like what kind of lake you're on. Like I said, Livingston was one of those lakes. We didn't do much to it. We just kept water rolling through there and making sure it was places like little rivers and stuff, places where they just live in a foot of water. They're used to that water. They're used to it. They like it. There's probably more oxygen in that water than out there deep. So just pay that in mind. Like I said, the deeper you catch them, the more you usually have to worry about your fish dying. Let's get down to that extreme method. And I say extreme method because you have to go a little bit more. You have to mess with your boat a little bit. You have to go get some things. But I'm just letting y'all know, is it worth it? If I was fishing team tournaments like throughout the year, all the time, I had this on my boat for a couple years. I stopped having it because there was a rule in FLW that I don't think you're allowed to have this one thing in your boat. So I'm not sure if they've changed that. I think everyone should be allowed to do this. Is it dangerous? I've heard reports that it could be. We're also driving around with 50 gallons of gas in our boat. So I mean, you know, it is what it is. So here's the deal. They started making oxygen tanks with regulators on them, right? And it has a hose coming through it, and then it has a regulator on there, kind of like an aerator that you would put in like your fish tank. It's circular, and it kind of suctions to the bottom of your live well. Now, what that allows you to do, you can get these at there's a place, I'm not so sure, I'll have to check before I do this video. I'll call and see if they still make them, if they still have them at this one place. You can order them. It should be at Rambo Outdoors. It used to be called something else, but I'll call up Rambo and see if they still have them. Now, so it's just a small tank, about that big. They almost look like welding tanks. They're just lighter, they're thinner, and they're easier to mount. And we used to mount them on a boat. They actually came with these 2 rubber straps. I mean, it's really, really secure. And you just run one little small white hose right into your live well. Drill one little hole right on the top of your live well, run that hose in there, and you can put it on the smallest setting. And I'm telling you, listen, all that other stuff I talked about, it does not matter. You put pure oxygen in that live well, you will see a difference you've never seen before in fish. I'm telling you, it is amazing. There will be fish that you would think, like, I guarantee you can keep them in there 5 days. They do not die. And what I mean by 5 days is you'll have one that looks like it should be dead. It doesn't look right, and it's just still breathing. Only problem, there's one problem with it. One, they say it's a little dangerous. Just because you have pure oxygen on your boat. Basically, you don't want, when I talked to enough guys, they said the cap on, you know, the twist, the cap, you don't want to shear that thing off. It's like a bullet. If you did that, like a missile, it would take a lot to do that. 2, you better not open your live wells. I'm serious, man. You open your live wells, they will start to try to jump out. It is a nightmare getting them to go weigh them in. So that's the deal. I'll try to find all the information and put it up right here, okay? Because like I said, if you're really worried about it, that's the deal. Hey man, I hope this helps on helping y'all keep fish alive. Like I said, throw some comments down there, man. If y'all got some other little tricks y'all do, put them in the comments. Tons of guys will watch this, read it. You never know, man. Y'all might be helping people out more than me. See y'all.